Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the town board meeting of April 20th, 2023. Can everyone please stand for the pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence for reflection.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're gonna start tonight with public comment. Does anybody have any comment on the agenda items that they would like to make at this time? So, okay, then, Maria, you're up. Okay.
Just a quick question, does anyone know, maybe the liaisons or the library, what the New York State Code reflects as the treasurer for the Woodbury Public Library? Because I was looking at something with the bylaws, and they state treasurer, supposed to collect the funds, make the deposits, reconcile their books and everything. But the current Woodbury Public Library bylaws does not state Town of Woodbury supervisor or Town of Woodbury council people, or the treasurer. And they're supposed to vote on their treasurer at their reorg meeting. They didn't have a reorg meeting in January, but they did at their March 28th meeting. They never voted for a treasurer. So I'm just curious, because I haven't had time to look up the New York State law, if who the state says is the treasurer for the libraries. So that's just my one question, because I was in their minutes, which is on the agenda tonight.
Okay, well, thank you for the question. Myself and Tim are the liaison. Do you have any update on that or any?
As far as I knew, that was the town, that, we handled their financials.
Right now, as it states, as Tim just said, and I would, anything that's done through the library, they bring it up to the the supervisor's office. The ladies in the office handle that. It's either Laura or Eileen, and then we do the banking through there for them. As far as that question specifically, we can get back to you with a
That'd be
more,
great,
yeah.
because I don't think there's anything in your code book that has anything about the supervisor being the treasurer for the Woodbury Public Library. I was just curious, because I was trying to cross-reference, and I couldn't find anything with that. And I noticed that they did not vote for a treasurer at their reorg meeting in March, so thank you.
Well, I think that it's something that we discussed here, and it was agreed that we would just go along this year. But as far as having that, finding out exactly what needs to, so maybe that could help them also.
And I'm sure our esteemed town clerk may have something in minutes from years ago that did post that, but I'm not aware of it, and I haven't had time to foil it yet.
Alright.
I know she's quite busy right now, so I'll get to it eventually.
Thank you.
I don't know what it is. In my 25 years, I never recall hearing it.
That's a, yeah,
That's probably how it was from,
Probably been from day one, where, you know,
Just curiosity.
right. But now that they've made their position, they've made their move, so now these are all the things that.
will be moved.
Yeah, they'll.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? No? All right, we'll move on to administrative business, the acceptance of the minutes. Can I have a motion and a second to accept the receipt of the minutes of the meeting held on April 6th, 2023?
Make a motion.
Okay, Tim, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And now we'll move on to approval of abstracts. Desiree, could you please read abstract number 8?
Yes. Revised abstract number 8 is voiding voucher 230582, which is check number 27093, the amount of $346.71, which brings the total of the abstract to now be $305,949.66.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the revised abstract as read?
Make a motion.
Second? I'll make the second. I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and Desiree, could you please read abstract number 9?
You girls here for school?
Yes.
The agenda is right over on the table. Abstract 9 contains vouchers 230620 through 230704 and totals $289,764.02.
Okay, I need a motion and a second to approve abstract 9 is read. I'll make the motion. I need a second.
I'll second
Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, before we begin, and before we go any further, ladies, welcome to the town board meeting here in Woodbury. If you wouldn't mind, just please step up to the microphone, please. Can you just push the button there that would turn that, see the red?
Hold it there.
There you go. I just wanna, introduce myself. My name is Tom Burke, I'm the town supervisor. This is our town board, and this is our town clerk, and deputy supervisor Desiree Potvin. So maybe you guys should just introduce yourselves to us real quick and why you're here.
My name is Ella Katzman, and I'm here because we consider for school.
Okay.
They made us come.
And you're, and you are?
I'm Amber Hicks. We're in the same class. We're here for school.
Well, welcome to the meeting.
Welcome, Bob.
Yeah, we want,
Thank
just
you.
wanted to say hi, that's all. Okay. All right, so moving on, the adoption of the standard workday resolution. Desiree, could you please read the resolution prepared for this?
Sure. Resolved that the town of Woodbury hereby establishes the following as a standard workday for elected and appointed officials and will report the following to the state retirement system based on the record of activity maintained and submitted by these officials to my office. This year there's only one, which is Councilman Brandon Fiore. We'll be reporting 7.12 average days per month.
Okay. I need a motion and a second to adopt the resolution as read.
Any motion?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
I know this is about Councilman Calori. I'm not suggesting it's some kind of conflict for you to vote, but if there are 3 votes in your
Yeah.
favor and you want to abstain, that would be.
I was just about to ask, thank you. Yeah, I was, abstaining, correct?
Yeah, I have you down as
Okay.
abstaining anyway, so.
Okay. I kinda figured it, but,
It's out what you said,
thanks, Joe.
written in pen.
Thanks, Desiree.
You're welcome.
Tim, you made the motion.
Yep.
I second, oh, Kate seconded, so now, all in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. Budget mod, Desiree, could you read the budget modification for this evening?
Yes, there are 2. The first is for the Parks Department, increasing a 599 appropriate fund balance by $58,926.99. And a 7110.422 surveillance equipment by $58,926.99. And the second is for special revenue fund by increasing CM 599 appropriate fund balance by $49,472.67. CM 9901.900 transfer of other funds by that same amount. A 917 unassigned fund balance by that amount, and a 5031 interfund transfers by that amount.
Okay, well, the surveillance equipment at the parks will provide for cameras, server, and network video system at the John P. Burke Pool. The modification for the parkland fees will be to close the funds to the general fund as recommended by the accounting department. So with that said, can I have a motion and a second to approve the modifications as read?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, I'll second. Is there a discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we had on the agenda the hiring of a part-time police officer, but tonight we're gonna table it at the request of Chief Watson. Moving along, amendment, the next item is amendment to the fee schedule, 1-day officiant. Can I have a motion and a second to amend the fee schedule by adding a $25 fee for a 1-day marriage officiant license issued by the town clerk's office? Desiree, could you explain that?
I would love to.
A one-day cruise?
Basically,
That's
so,
exactly what it is.
so the governor of the great state of New York has decided that anybody should be able to perform a wedding for any loved ones or whomever they want to without having to jump through hoops and obstacles in order to do so.
Got it.
And he decided that in order for that to happen, a license should be issued from the state of New York at a cost of $25 to be able to issue a 1-day officiant license. Then she decided that was a little bit too much work for the state of New York and thought that the town clerk would be the excellent person to do that. So, therefore, the good news is the town gets to keep that money. The bad news is I get another thing to do in my office. So, that would be what this is.
So are you the
That's
only
comic
person,
relief.
are you the only person that can do it in the office?
No, my office, it will issue it, so anybody in my, who falls under my umbrella, so it'll be me or my deputies.
But you're the only person in your office that could perform a marriage?
At this time, the board appointed me as a marriage officer. This is if, let's say, Joey, whose birthday is today, by the way.
Birthday.
Let's say Tom wanted to get married
Yes.
again, to me after I get divorced. And Joey's like, you know what, I like those two kids and I wanna perform that ceremony. After you and I get our marriage license, Joey would come into my office, cause we have to get you get your marriage license from my office, not that I can issue my own marriage license, but
This
that's
sounds
going
like a conflict.
crazy, I know. After we get our marriage license from my office, Joey would come into my office, it'd all be done in the same office, and say, I'm here to get a one-day officiant license to perform the ceremony for Tom Burke and Desiree, and probably go back to her by that point. I would give him that license for that one marriage license only, and that's the only one he'd be able to issue. If then he comes back and says, hey, I wanna perform a wedding of Kate and Jeffrey, he'd have to get a second license.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Jeffrey just
Or-
got excited.
You know,
No, he doesn't want that, he doesn't want that again.
that sounds like a lot less work than becoming a priest, so, yeah.
There you go. Or you could just say, hey, town clerk, can you marry me? And I say, okay. There you go. I can't marry myself though.
Just mark it down as clergy and judge discrimination.
So with that, thank you very much, Desiree. So is there anybody else have any questions regarding that?
No,
We're good?
I'm good.
Alright, all in favor?
I'm sorry, we need a motion.
Oh, a motion.
I'll make a motion, let the people get married.
There you go.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're good. Alright,
Thank you, Desiree. Hey, you're welcome.
next is we're moving on to old business, request for tax exemption, various Kairos Joel properties in Woodbury. For several years, a letter has been submitted by the village of Kairos Joel requesting a tax exemption on their pipeline that is within Woodbury. Since this pipeline does not service anyone in Woodbury, the town board has historically denied the request. We have our attorney, Joe McKay. Aren't we lucky tonight? Yes. Can you provide an update on the status of the litigation the village of Kairos Joel has brought against the town?
Oh, sure. Just to clarify, just to go back 1 second. There are the pipeline property actually takes up two section block and lots. So yes, it's a request for a tax exemption on the pipeline properties, but it's also a request for an exemption for approximately 5 other parcels that the village of Curious Joel says are part of its water infrastructure system. And the town's position has been, as the supervisor just said, that since the parcels that are used in the water infrastructure simply pass water through the town and don't really service the town residents themselves, that the town has not previously granted the exemption. And more to the point, the village of Curious Joel commenced litigation against the town. One of the causes of action in that litigation was whether or not the town had properly denied the tax exemption requests in the past. We litigated that issue in Orange County Supreme Court, and the town was successful. So under Real Property Tax Law 406, the town board has, within its complete discretion, the right to grant or deny this tax exemption request. And as I pointed out to the board, that the memo I prepared, we have one that's issued. The town has previously denied the exemption request. The dollar amounts would be it's a substantial revenue to the town, and a substantial revenue that the town would lose if it granted the exemption. And again, the town spent a lot of money standing up for its right to decide this within its own discretion. Village of Curious Joel, this is probably more than you want to hear. Village of Curious Joel's filed a notice of appeal of our successful determination. They have not yet perfected the appeal, meaning they haven't filed the record in the brief in the appellate division to do so. They do have a short period of time left within which to do that. I would suggest to the town board that they maintain their course, maintain the status quo, and as it has in past years, exercise its discretion to deny the tax exemption.
Okay. Do you have the resolution you would like to
I
read?
do, you want me to read it?
Yeah, please.
Resolution of the town board of the town of Woodbury, denying real property tax exemption request submitted by the village of Curious Joel. Whereas on or about February 24th, 2023, the town of Woodbury received a written request from the village of Curious Joel seeking to have certain properties owned by the village located within the town exempted from taxation pursuant to real property law, section 406. And whereas the village's request seeks an exemption from taxation for several parcels identified as 213-164.1, 213-149, 202-119, 247-416, 205-48, 999-7-1, and 999-7-2, based upon the assertion that the parcels are used for water supply purposes. And whereas a litigation commenced against the town by the village, the Orange County Supreme Court determined that the town was fully within its rights to deny the village's exemption request for the same properties in prior years. Now therefore be hereby resolved that pursuant to the authority vested in the town board by real property tax law, section 406, the requested tax exemptions for the properties listed in this resolution are denied.
All right. Thank you for that. I need a motion and a second to adopt the resolution as read. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next, we're moving on to new business. First item is the Woodbury Police Department patrolling Highland Lake Estates development. I'm happy to announce the ongoing items with the Highland Lake Estates has been resolved. The residents and the police department, I thank all parties involved for finding a fair resolution. The next item is the acceptance of the Orange County Youth Bureau grant funds, Youth Police Academy. The town has been awarded a grant for the Orange County Youth Bureau for the creation of the Youth Police Academy.
Awesome.
Yeah, can I have a motion to accept the $5,000 grant funds?
I'll make that motion.
Good, Tim seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, good. The next one is, a proposal for the addition of the sensory park up at the reservoir. A proposal has been received to add an interactive dance and play arch to the sensory park at a state bid cost of approximately $80,000. This addition is ideal for children that are unable to walk as it is wheelchair accessible. I believe adding more to this park each year is essential for our growing community. In 2020 and 21, the town board developed the 2021 Sensory Park at the Earl Reservoir. At this time, the project was spearheaded by Woodbury Council member Jacqueline Hernandez, and input was received from Monterey Woodbury Central School District leaders. The addition of this park has been extremely beneficial for so many families. The board is considering further expansion of the Century Park. Today, we have a preliminary idea initially under consideration, which is on the agenda. As an FYI to all, this week I reached out to select special education leaders at the Monterey Woodbury Central School District to gather input from them and their experiences with special needs families. Their insight on what venues the town can pursue to augment the Century Park would be invaluable. I've already received input from 2 leaders wishing to work on the project with the town. That's Ulissa Rincon, Thomas Zia, and Gail Tulo. Ulissa has confirmed we're going to receive an expert advice recommendations, and Gail wishes to work on this project with us. We have identified various musical and inclusive options which will be also reviewed. In addition, an opportunity for a partial grant has been presented to us, and it was submitted to the office and Clara Rivera, who works in the office with me, is going to submit the application this morning, actually submitted this morning, April 20th. There'll be more information to follow. I've also been in contact with former Councilwoman Jacqueline Hernandez, since she was the individual who spearheaded this in 2020. I believe her experience and passion for this project is an asset and the board should take advantage of, especially since she's involved with the families with special needs children. So with all that being said, I know that there's been some other discussion and comments made by the board. You know, maybe Councilman Calori would like to add to this?
Yeah, my main concern after reading this, just to be very clear, I am very enthusiastic about adding to the sensory park, so I want to make that crystal clear. My concern originally with the arch was the lights and the noise, and aside from being wheelchair accessible, how beneficial could that be to our children with sensory issues, autism, Asperger's, whether it would be a conflict, whether it could impede. I know after talking with various organizations that sensory parks and gardens are supposed to be a calm place, a place for children to come and kind of get away from it a little bit while still having fun. Sensory parks should also be child prompted, meaning that they use their imagination as opposed to being child induced as opposed to being child prompted, which would be the computers. I'm very excited to be adding to the sensory park, but I did have concerns that this particular piece, and only this particular piece, with the lights and the noise, could possibly be a trigger for children with sensory issues, or I would just like to do a little more research on it.
Well, I agree with you, and that's why I think it's great that Joey Gianzaro, he said, like, you definitely can't do this without reaching out, back out to the school district, who was very much involved the first time.
Okay.
And like you're saying, and what we're all saying, the school district, with the experience that Jackie Hernandez had when she was going through this, when it first started, and with the families that she dealt with in the community. I mean, like you said, we all look at this as an opportunity to enhance the sensory part. And what works and what doesn't work, I guess, takes a collaborative effort, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's good.
Yes.
So,
I think that's something worth polling.
that's right. And that's what this is all about, the same thing that happened when it did it in 21, I believe. Joe, can you speak a little bit to that also? But do you remember when it was done? How the apparatuses were chosen and how, yeah.
As he's getting up, I just wanna,
Young ladies, get off, wait.
as he's getting up, I just wanna point out that I had a typo on the agenda, it was supposed to say discussion, and I put approval. And that was my error trying to get the agenda out while I was doing that. It was just discussion, yeah.
Just the many things. If you look at the catalog from Game Time, there's hundreds and hundreds of different things. Again, this is not this is the guy, he suggested this, he thought it'd be a great thing for that particular. It is part of the sensory overall. You have valid points, I don't know all the particulars, but that's why we get the people from Monroe Woodbury on board, which we reached out way back, and they came on board, we had meetings with them, we went through everything, we had meetings with Mike from Game Time, with Frank, Jackie, me, the ladies, I can't remember their names, but the ladies from over, and we kind of went through the book, and we got a little bit of everything up there. That's kind of how we did things, but if you go through the book, you're gonna be like, this looks good, this is good, this is good. But you gotta watch, because Clara came down today and she's, oh, I like this. I said, we already have something like that. You don't wanna mimic stuff.
No, of course not.
But you gotta watch the area where it's gonna be in. You gotta make sure, like, you might pick something and you can't go in that area, because it has to be a zone around, the kid falls or something like that. So there's particulars that we might be able to not get, because we don't have that big of an area, which we wanna do when you first go in the park. There's a nice area to the left. So we can figure it gives them another game to play with. So again, if we get feedback from everybody and we can all sit down and figure something out, and if we get this grant, that's a home run too.
Absolutely.
So, but we have time, let's get the right thing for everybody to enjoy, and with their input, I think we should be able to do that, so.
One of my major concerns is, God forbid, children that normally would go up there might not want to go up there if they hear or can't, you know what I mean, if there's an issue with the lights and the sounds and everything. So I just wanna be very careful.
Yeah, no, I get you.
But As far as adding to it, I'm all for
Hey,
it.
listen, we put all the heads together, we'll
Yeah,
find something that can go
exactly.
there and
I
everybody
agree
can
with
have.
Tom when he said this should be a collaborative effort, so.
Especially if
Thank
we
you.
get 25,000, that's fantastic.
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
definitely love if we could get a grant, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
I
we-
take my kids there all the time, and my son who's 3 has said sorry, you know.
Yeah,
and-
and
and-
there's regular, I'm not saying, I can't say, I don't wanna use that word, but everybody uses it. The people with little kids, they love it because it's a little bit off the ground, they don't have to worry about the kid falling off the other playground. So it's used for a lot of, everybody goes up there. But yeah, the grant came in this morning, and I went up to see Clara, and she already put it in.
Who's the
So,
grant from?
it's through, Game Time.
So it's a private grant, it's not a grant that.
No, it's not a grant from like our grant writer, no, it's from Game Time. Yeah, yeah, so it's great, they have, I don't know the whole, I read it, but I gave it to Clara, so.
Well, what's important to point out, because we've always said we can't accept grant funds
Right.
for the parks,
No.
because that would open it up to
No.
anybody, but if this is a private grant from
This
a
is-
private entity,
Yeah,
then that shouldn't cause an issue, because you're not taking federal, state, or county funds.
no, absolutely not, absolutely not.
This is virtually just a discount from the company.
That's pretty much it.
Hey, there you go.
I like that, yes. So,
Without saying.
okay, I'll be back.
You're not Arnold.
That's for sure.
Okay, so, the next item is to authorize an engineer to prepare a bid, the removal of trees at the John P. Burke Pool property. I need a motion, a second to authorize the town engineer to prepare bid specifications for removal of trees at the John P. Burke Pool property. We did a walkthrough. Yeah, do you wanna talk about it, Joe? You wanna mention?
I didn't know he was, I didn't know.
Alright, just so everybody knows, I have a lot of pictures, I'll download them and I'll send them to you guys. It's a lot of one tree came down by the handball court, hit the fence, that's down. A lot of trees are, willow makers are in the trees, a lot of dead trees, off of Thunderbird right there. We would like them to go in there, take a lot of trees out, clean up the whole mess. They'll put, whoever puts chips down, you put a couple benches there. Maybe people, when they're done, they can sit there, enjoy themselves. And then there's some trees that if you go in the park by the volleyball court, they're leaning over. We had one already this year came down and we took care of that, but these we can't, those grounds definitely can't do this one. And then they're gonna clean out, if you walk up the walking path to the right, there's a lot of dead stuff in there, they're gonna clean that out as best they can to make it look really nice, and they're gonna trim a lot of other stuff. That's gonna be in the bid, I don't know, whoever gets it. But there's a lot of stuff that, they talked about it for 10, 15 years, and it's just that it just keeps going. But there's a lot of trees that are dead and are dangerous. So if somebody's playing tennis and who knows, one of them trees crack, and, we don't want that to happen to anybody, so. So hopefully, the engineer comes down, we'll walk with him, show him what we want, puts it out, and, but whoever gets it, gonna need a big crane. There's probably an 80-foot tree that's dead that, you just can't climb it up, so it's a big job, it's a very, very big job, so.
How
Hopefully,
about the trees that have fallen already?
the trees that are falling, gonna clean them up, and there's a spot, like I said, going up the walkway, all them trees, they're gonna get cleaned out over there, so.
There's a fence down too, a fence.
The fence, once we get everything done, then we'll have to fix the fence, so. But, yeah. And again, if your insurance is $1,000 deductible, the fence is probably $1,000, so really it doesn't, and they're not gonna pay for the trees, so that's where we're at. So I guess I could cross that off on this, but I'll be back again.
And, I need can I have a motion, a second to authorize the town engineer to prepare bid specifications for the removal of trees at the J.P. Burke Pool?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we need to authorize, right? I need a motion, a second to authorize the town clerk to advertise for the bids for the removal of the trees in the.
I'll make a motion.
Same thing.
I'll second. Thanks, Tim.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to the department reports, supervisory report, March 23. Desiree, please read that.
Yes, the supervisor's report for March of 2023 has receipts totaling $409,664.79, and disbursements totaling $1,076,090.67.
Can I have a motion, a second to approve the report as read?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
Alright, the next, is the town clerk report, I'm in receipt of for March 23. I'm in receipt of the animal control report for March, the police communications report for March, buildings and grounds report also for March, parks and recreation committee meetings, March 21st, police commission minutes, no minutes received, library director report, March is received, library board minutes for March 2nd and March 28th, received, beautification committee minutes, March meeting canceled, there's a lack of quorum, and the budget versus actual, March 2023. So we have that. Alright, so we're moving on to public comment. Do we have anybody from the public that would like to come up and make any comments at this time?
Maria Hunter, I'm speaking as the secretary to the Woodbury Chamber. I've been in correspondence with our secretary, Potvin, and our president, Joe Gianzaro, and I've also been waiting for a response back from Detective Roman. It came to my attention from a chamber member, sent an email, and first I want to start off and say I want to thank the Woodbury Police Department, especially Chief Watson, Detective Roman, and the entire police staff for being very proactive and for going around and letting the businesses know that they are there for them and to let them know what's been happening within Woodbury. With all that being said, as I said, as secretary, I have reached out to Desiree and to Joey, and we are working on putting together a chamber meeting. Either, it depends on Detective Roman's schedule, which would either be May 2nd or May 9th. There'll be a morning meeting held at the Woodbury Diner, which I've already spoken to the diner, which I've spoken to the diner, so they're aware of our anticipation of having a meeting to invite Supervisor Burke, who graciously went along with Detective Roman. Thank you for doing that. If you could, Kevin, if you could let Detective Roman, I think that was the only officer that went around, for going to the different businesses. And there's one business that did reach out to me, well, to the chamber and to me personally. They're happy that we're gonna be planning this meeting globally as working with Supervisor Burke, the police department, and the chamber executive officers. So I just want everyone to know that there will be a meeting. Chamber members will be invited, and chamber members also include the town board members, village board members, because they're part of the chamber. So if anyone has any concerns or questions, you can always go to the chamber and send me an email, let me know what your thoughts and concerns are. But we are planning on hosting that, and as soon as, like I said, as soon as I can get Detective Roman, because I missed him yesterday because he was off for 2 days, so I'm sure he'll reach out to me and let me know what's best for him. And I'm sure the chief or the lieutenant might join us as well. So Chief Watson, thank you to you and to your department for doing that you do for us as business owners within Woodbury. I truly personally appreciate it in some other businesses as well, so thank you. That being said, other hat, chairperson for the Woodbury Parade, Memorial Day Parade on May 28th. Thank you to the board. I wasn't here when you approved the permit. I got permission from the village board. I actually got my permit yesterday from the building inspector. We're moving along. All of you should have had to check your mail. You should have had an invitation to participate in the parade. I had it delivered 2 days ago. So, once again, the entire board is welcome to march in the parade. Please let me know. I will have all names of elected officials, all elected officials between the town and the village will be listed in the brochure, because that's how I feel. That's how the community can know who represents them. You know where that one's coming from. So if anyone has any questions about the parade, please let me know. Was there one other thing? I think that's enough for tonight. Oh, real quick. I know, Kate and Brandon, you both attended the AOT, the associations of towns in February. Do we have any documents or information that can be foiled or brought to the attention, or can you let us know what was learned or what was, I know Brandon, you did go to one session with, our attorney with the libraries, and I thank you for some of the information that you imparted to me. So I was just curious if we had anything that we can foil to know what was learned at the last one, because those classes, trust me, I've been there, done it. I would attend from morning to night, run back to the hotel to get lunch and come back, and I would attend as many classes as possible, because it's a valuable place to learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria, for your comments tonight. Thank you.
And Maria, there was sign-in sheets also that they had at the Towns Association thing that we were allowed to sign our names on for all the classes that we took. I think we took 6 classes the first day that we were there. So yeah, there's sign-in sheets and we have brochures and we got emails and cards and everything that they were able to email us what we learned when we were there, so I can always share it with you.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
you'll share it with us and let us know what classes and everything. I mean, not just me, all of us, because it comes from our taxes, so it'd be interesting to
Should be a
know.
long meeting, but yeah.
Well,
There's a lot of
synopsis.
education there.
Yeah, I know they are, because they're beautiful classes.
Yeah, we enjoy ourselves. Lots to learn.
Joe, you have anything for us tonight?
You guys know it was Joe's birthday?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Okay, on behalf of the Parks Department and the Park Committee, I believe everybody got an email about the survey that we'd like to send out. I would like any comments, if you think if it's okay, we'd like to send it out. I don't know what your thoughts are, but if you're saying yes, I see it already shifting your head. So I could tell Willa to send it out and, see what kind of feedback we get, good or bad. But, we've done this, we did this with the pool way back, and, people did, we got probably like 1,000 people or so that sent it back, so hopefully we'll get the same input, maybe something we didn't think about and somebody wants it, we'll see what happens, but you guys are okay and we'll send it
Yep.
out. Okay. Bills and grounds, we're just about finished with all our cleanups. We're at the pool today, clean up all the leaves, the sticks, and they mowed, so we're just about done, and now we're into lawn maintenance, so you'll see the guys out there probably 3-4 days a week, cutting all the lawns. We got a lot of properties that we take care of. I got, the walkways that go over the dam each way up to the parking lot and out to Scunnamunk. I had a company come in the other day, they're gonna give us a bid on ripping all that out and putting the walkways in, because they are in pretty bad shape, and we don't want nobody to fall or get hurt or anything. The pool, talked to the main line today, the pool opening is, we're gonna shoot for the week of the 23rd, 24th, or 25th of May. That gives us some time to take the cover off, start it up, we got some maintenance to do in the building, so we can have it, pretty much ready to go. Goes probably about the second week of June, we're gonna do another lifeguard class there, so we're gonna try to get some more lifeguards, you girls interested in lifeguards? You say yes, no, Miss Jackson,
Oh, yeah, Brandon on the spot.
well, you never know, this way,
I've already tried that Friday.
you like,
Wasn't for
okay,
me.
was it for you? Okay.
Joe, when you say open, you don't mean like open for the public?
No,
just-
not open for the pond, no,
just to
absolutely, not,
clarify.
absolutely not,
Otherwise-
we have clean up, we have stuff to do inside. Can I talk about the engineer that we walked through with the engineer?
Yeah.
Alright, so, last week, we walked through with our engineer, and, one thing at the court was kind of, it's gonna be fine, we just have to fix it, but the post that's in the 6x6 in the court was kind of warping a little bit, and we're a little concerned that, what's going on. So we had the engineer come, we took all the panels down, he looked at everything, and there's a 2x10, 3 together, it's kind of twisting. And it's safe, it's fine, but it has to be fixed. So he's gonna write up or something for a proposal. Unfortunately, it's gonna be money you're gonna spend, you're never gonna see it, so, but, nothing's gonna happen, it's still safe, but we wanna be proactive because it's not gonna get, when it's twisted, it's not gonna get better, it's gonna get worse. So, that's one thing. Went up to the park, there is money in the budget to do a new roof on the security building / bathrooms. He's gonna put that together. We did get, some lady, sent an email about the bridge that's up there on, Ridge Road. I guess at night when it's all quiet, people go over that bridge and they hit the metal. And I guess one of the metal things is a little loose, so he contacted the company, they're gonna come and tighten it back up, hopefully.
So Joe, not to cut you off, but I'm gonna for this particular time. I have something I wanna read regarding that,
Oh,
just
okay.
because you brought it up.
Okay.
Her name is Miss Donna Marie Corey. So she had, called my office, she said she wanted to speak with me. And she was asking, is there a timeline for the bridge project? Can something be placed under this plate on the bridge that's causing the noise? I guess they live in the house, or
It's,
right
I
next
forgot the name,
right.
it's one, yeah, it's one in the house right there.
So, just so you know, because we're discussing it now, we called the engineer and they called the Sullivan Paving. They came, basically they came immediately. They were with Rob Wyatt and they replaced, they repaired the plate that needed to be, adjusted or whatever. And, it was done immediately and it was corrected. And I'll tell you what, I wanted to publicly thank Miss Donna Marie Corey for calling like the way she did, and I'll tell you, it was very nice what she did, and how she informed us like that, the noise, and it was like it was loose. And special thanks to Rob Wyatt to being there with the company, so go ahead.
So that's done. And he's working on, drafts for Brickley Field, where the park's gonna go, because it's so low, we're gonna try to bring that up. And he's working on some stuff for the pool, for some more concrete, some more drainage, because when you build something, you don't know exactly where the water is, and so we're working on that. Another thing, just so you know, if anybody goes to court, you're gonna see that we have a brand new speaker system in there. I think there's 6 speakers, and, they don't have to yell because the speakers were in them podiums and really couldn't hear. I'm sure you guys been to court. So it'll be much better now. We did that, and we put new lights in Carol's office, so, we were gonna put new lights in the court itself, but if we're gonna do that beam, we gotta take everything apart, so there's no sense doing that. I had to put,
Joe, I was actually at court with them, last night, and I'll tell you, what a difference in that system.
yeah, it wasn't really a lot of money, so that was good, so.
And they were even raving about it, they were very happy with it.
I had the pleasure of going to an Eagle Scout ceremony on Saturday. Matthew Gorland, who did the mile markers at the park. And we gave him a nice certificate from the town, but I think, I'm gonna ask you guys if you could put him on the next agenda, and they could come in person, and, you could thank him, and, we have a little, nice.
I will.
All right, nice young man. It was a nice ceremony. I'm sure everybody's been to one of them or something like that. So, and that's all I got, unless you guys have any questions.
Joe, I just had a question about the courts, I'm sure you're aware about the siding on the left side.
Yeah, that's on, sorry.
No, you did. I was in the courthouse today, I was able to push it in and lock back in, but it's obviously still cracked, so. it's
They
gonna
have,
come off.
that's part of the deal, whenever they come, I had to call the Jerry to see when they're coming back. I believe they're waiting for some parts from the steel company, because I think 2 of the stanchions are wrong, wrong angle, so I think they're waiting for that to come back and put the door in. And part of it, there's 2 pieces on the front of the building, on each corner, and there's 1 on the side of the building. That's definitely part of the deal, yes.
Oh, so no, you're talking about the fire escape.
Yeah,
No, I'm
Yeah,
talking
but
about the
he's
side.
talking about the side, so
Yeah.
we were just saying, it's all gonna be one.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, it's
All
all
done
one
at the
thing.
same time.
Before they leave, everything will be done.
Did it get hit, that it cracked and folded out?
I think the wind got it, it
Yeah.
might have been just a little bit, and then wind came down and just got it, and, yeah, you try to put it back when it comes back in.
Yeah.
But that's part of once they're done, that's part of your deal. There's 3 pieces of siding that have to be done, yes.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, anything? Good?
Thanks, Joe.
Is it still open to the public
What?
comment?
Yeah, why not? You take time away from Joe McKay.
My comment is regarding the letter that, Attorney McKay was referring to, that you had, denied the request for tax exempt. In years past, when Sheila Conroy was supervisor and also John Burke was supervisor, whenever properties were put up for sale, they would look at the properties and they would try to purchase those properties. And this one property that's listed on this letter shows that it was purchased in 2022, and it was a county property. If you go onto some of these SBLs and you look down to see who purchased them, there's a group sale, and it's not just Woodbury, it's It's a lot of areas. And some of these areas are only 10 feet by 440 feet, which is the walkway on Scunny Monk. That's how it's listed on the SBL. And another one is 160 by 200 on Ridge Road. They were county-owned properties. So I don't know if the county was trying to get rid of the properties. I don't know if the town was made aware of properties that were within Woodbury. I think this is something that as maybe the assessor could start looking into when properties are going up for sale within Woodbury. As small as 10 by 440, there's numerous. If you go and look at some of these SBLs and you backtrack to see, okay, when was this purchased, and you look to see when it was done, there had to be at least 24 properties within Woodbury from the county sale in the last 6 years or so. So it's very interesting that these particular little individual pieces are being purchased, and then now they want, it was tax exempt, one of them, but they still want to be put on the tax exempt, and they say it's for the water pipeline, but what's a walkway on Scunny Monk? You
But
know,
now it's become town property.
excuse me?
It's town property now?
No,
They own it.
it's the village of Kiers Joel is buying all these properties. We are not buying them. Years ago, we used to, but there must have been a county must have been cleaning up their pieces of land that they own. And if you go back and look and see who the owners are, we don't own it anymore. Neither the county nor the town of Woodbury or the village of Woodbury. And that's very concerning to me because when you start taking all these little pieces and then you put them together eventually, to me, it could, in the future, could pose a problem. So it's just something to be aware of if you look at these SBLs.
I want to thank you for that. I wasn't aware of that, and myself and Tyler have, Etzel, we have been meeting with the assessor, with Julie, for the past 3 weeks, and we've been touring Woodbury with properties that we own right now, whether or not we want to continue to own them or put them up for sale, but this is something that we'll look at now also.
Yeah, because one of the properties that are listed on that letter, so I went and looked up all these properties to see where they were, and I knew about the 2 properties that the previous planning board approved to put the water collection and the chlorinations, but now there's other properties, and it's like, okay, what's going on here? So it's just something to keep aware of.
No, thank you.
Send me home.
Mr. McKay, our attorney,
No comments.
and ladies, that's our Woodbury Police Chief, our town, that's Chief Watson. Chief Watson, do you have anything for us this evening?
Nothing, for the meeting, after the meeting.
Okay. Councilman Calori, on the far left.
All right. First, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I just want to make a quick mention that Saturday is Earth Day, and there will be a spring cleanup from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Volunteers should meet at the Central Valley Firehouse. Lunch will be served at the end of the event. So come join your neighbors and help me keep Woodbury a clean community. Also, the Climate Smart Task Force, along with the Woodbury Public Library, are hosting a tree planting at the Central Valley Library on Smith Grove on April 29th. The tree planting will begin at 10 a.m. And finally, I'd like to wish Joe Gianzero a very happy birthday. Thanks for all you do, Joe. It doesn't go unnoticed. Enjoy your day.
All right, Councilman Finney.
I will start with happy birthday, Joe.
Just say it all together.
I'm not gonna say it then.
She's gonna
I
sing
said
it.
it like 3 times already.
She's gonna sing it to you.
Poor Joe's gonna turn it off.
I don't have much. Like I said last month, we're in a New York State burn ban. As I'm sure all of you are aware, that Bowman Grove had a really bad fire. Rockland had a really bad fire. That little bit of rain we got isn't gonna do it, guys. So be careful what you do. That's all I got. Have a good night. Thanks for coming.
Okay. Councilmember Luciani.
So I have a few things. One, I just went last night to Dan Zola, who is in the Woodbury Community Ambulance. He's now moving away. So last night was kind of like a saying goodbye. Yeah. And he's definitely gonna be missed here in Woodbury. He's done so much for this community. Just meeting him, by doing the We Are Woodbury, he was always the first person to show up, to have the ambulance there, to do lessons, whenever recruitments, he was always the person at the recruiter's table, and he's definitely gonna be missed here in Woodbury because we have a hard enough time finding volunteers, and, you know, he's a young guy, and he's done a lot for the community, so it will definitely be missed. I wanted to bring up, we are having the senior tea party at Rushmore State, that is May 7th, and, we still have availability, so anybody who wants to come, it's open to any senior citizen, and, there's no charge whatsoever, it's just a nice day for everybody to get together and have some sandwiches and some tea. And then I also do wanna thank the, Woodbury Police Department, you know, for going around and speaking with the businesses. With the robberies, I had a lot of, local businesses reach out to me that were, you know, afraid, and I was trying to speak with, Chief Watson about trying to organize something, so I'm happy the Chamber of Commerce is able to get something together, because I think it's really important, especially when you have businesses and, you know, people who are afraid, and, you know, a lot of them don't know what to do, and, you know, as a community, we should all come together and definitely be able to, you know, work together and let people feel safe, you know, during this time. So I just wanna thank them. And then I'm happy you brought it up, Maria, about the Towns Association. I guess we forgot about, like, even coming back here and bringing back, you know, all that happened. It was actually like an amazing time, and I'm happy that we got the opportunity to go there. Being somebody who doesn't come from the world of politics, you know, there's a lot of things that, you know, you kind of jump in and you try to figure out, and we were able to take a bunch of different classes, you know, understanding the fund balance and things like that,
Yep.
pitfalls in budgeting.
Yep.
You know, they had an abandoned cemetery class, which was amazing, because we have an abandoned cemetery here, which we all know about, you know. And we took it on different ones, supervisor role, things like that, and it was really nice to get all the information. And Councilman Calori was sitting there taking pictures of every single screen thing that they passed by, and, you
I
know.
like to be thorough.
And it was a good way to network and speak with other people in the communities, other mayors and things like that, and, you know, try to make the dinners as much as possible, because, you know, it's not just Woodbury that we work for, we have to all work together in the communities here in Orange County. So it's nice to be a part of and, you know, see other people, and I was happy to have Councilman Calori there with me to be able to, you know, meet with everybody in the community, so, thanks.
Okay.
I just wanna remind everybody that whether you like it or not, you do and are required to get a permit before you have a garage or yard or house sale in Woodbury. It's starting to pick up, it's starting to be that time, and, I get calls from neighbors telling on their neighbors if they don't get permits, so please come get your measly little $5 permit so that you are in compliance with the law. If you have a dog, it does need to be licensed, please remember that as well. My office is very, working closely with the animal control to make sure that the dog licenses are up to date and obtained. And, on behalf of the chamber, I know Maria spoke about it, but I'm sorry, I had a bathroom language on me. I think it's great that the police and Supervisor Burke have gone to all the businesses, or started seeing all the businesses in town, and, it's perfect timing for the chamber to have this meeting with them to discuss what to be aware of and what to do if it were to happen. And, you know, it's great that we've got a plan for a camera to go right on that corner where it happens, and hopefully that could have helped, you know, pick up some things too.
Oh, I have a question for you.
For me,
Yeah. If you're going to apply for a permit for a yard sale,
yeah,
is there a limit per year,
there
per owner?
That's a great question. There are two, allowed per year. Two allowed a year, within a year period. That counts on your property or if you have it on someone else's property. So I know there's a group over on Florence that are planning to do group,
Street.
yeah. So they each need a permit, everyone on the block who's participating needs a permit, even if they're doing it on their neighbor's property, they still need a permit, and they're allowed to create. And that's it.
Yeah, the reason I brought that up is because there are residents that are moving into our community, I believe that where they moved from, I believe that's not, you know, a state law, that's each, you know, town or village or municipality has the right to set their number of sales that they wanna have on their property.
Right, and when the law was adopted several years ago, not that I was cut here.
Yeah.
It was adopted because there were residents that were having sales every weekend, which was usurping, as you will know, Mr. Finnegan, the building code zone, because now there's business, we're basically operating a business under the auspices of a garage sale. So now that's, you're not allowed to sell new stuff at a garage sale, it has to be stuff that you've owned or previously purchased, it can't be stuff out of a box. What?
Don't be not too serious, cause you can't sell new
I
stuff.
can't sell new stuff out of my house now.
No, but you own a business, so you can sell new stuff at your business. I'm hoping you're selling new alcohol at your business.
Maybe, maybe not.
Alright, so
Just kidding.
I have a few things, to end the meeting. At our last town board meeting, a modification to move the remaining balance in our fund to the general fund was tabled since the appropriateness was questioned. I appreciate the questions, because I believe as elected officials, we all have a responsibility to provide our residents with as much information as possible. And the questions that are asked generate conversations. The same modification is presented again this evening to close the special revenue fund to the general fund. When the Village of Woodbury issued certificates of occupancy, $3,500 was collected as a parkland fee, and this was given to the town. Parkland fees carry restrictions that require the money be used for expansion of the parks. The last parkland fee was received from the village on November 20th, 2019. The adopted 2022 budget included $80,000 that was to be used for parks and was deposited in the special revenue fund. This current balance is now $49,472.67. Since this amount is less than the $80,000 deposit resulting from the 2022 budget, this money clearly has none of the restrictions associated with parkland fees. If approved, the money in the CM fund will be deposited into the general fund. Since the $80,000 was intended for the parks, in the very near future, we can vote on what the remaining $49,472.67 will be used for. That's just an explanation I wanted to give. Also from the police department, I'd like to personally thank Lieutenant Phillips. He was billing Altice, and for the police details that have been provided on Route 32 since January. To date, the town has received over $20,827.93. So a special thank you to the police department, of course, Lieutenant Phillips. Back to one of the comments that Joey made tonight when you asked if the board sent any notification. I did send an email, and everyone on the board did, and is in favor of it. I just wanted to say that I want to read what I wrote to the Willa. I think the survey is a great idea. I think it was well done. It was excellent. The Parks and Rec Committee have taken great initiative by putting this survey together and taking a preemptive approach. First, by asking for input on what we have today and how to make the parks better in the future. I've always been a proponent of engaging Woodbury residents and seeking feedback. This committee is taking the right approach, and I thank each of them for their dedication and commitment. As for the Parks Committee, as a former Parks Commissioner, the park is in this town means a lot to me. I wholeheartedly support the Woodbury Parks Committee initiative to send out this composed survey. So, and they also took the time to reach out to us as a board. So for that, I wanted to publicly say thank you to them. We spoke about Miss Corey and thanked her again for what she did, and I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I appreciate it, and I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make motion.
All right, second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much. I'll sign it. Come on up, lady.